Hello everybody, my name is Korosh Erfani and I will present you a very short program about what the Iranian people can expect from the world as help. We are facing an important question, which is there any possibility for the peoples of different countries to help each other across the world? For example, can we help somehow the brave Syrian people in its struggle for their freedom against a criminal regime? Or we can put the same question for Yemen or even for Iran, where a despotic regime is for decades depriving the Iranian people from their rights and their freedom. One of the main issues regarding the future of Iran is the necessity or not of a military attack to this country in order to destroy its nuclear capability. And the debate is presented as if in that country there is nothing else atypical or harmful but the nuclear activity. Some go further and stipulate, for example, a general action for overthrowing the Iranian regime that is considered as a source of conflict, repression, non-respect of human rights, and terrorism, and also the nuclear ambition. But for us, the key question remains the following: should the foreign countries intervene in Iran to topple the regime or not? We can answer this question from two different angles, from two different points of view. The Western countries, one, and the Iranian nations, one. So we know that what is important for the Western governments before anything else is their profitable strategic interest, which match to the interest of the giant economic companies. And we don't have any illusion on the intention of the American government, for example, or the European states about democracy, freedom, and justice, or how can I say else, the respect of the human rights, for example, for the oppressed citizen of these third world countries like Iran. These issues come always after the economic takings that a dictatorial state can provide to the Western economy. I can say, I can give you the notorious example in this matter, which is this Saudi Arabia, for example, a criminal state that has the full support of the USA because of the crucial role of its oil exportation for the American economy, for example. So as we set aside this delusion, we don't get a chance to put forward any argument to convince the Western politicians about necessity, the positive outputs of a policy that should prefer democracy and freedom in Iran. We leave this task to those who have gotten still this kind of fantasy, And as far as we are concerned, we will talk about the Iranian people and the real needs and aspiration for freedom, democracy, and self-determination. The main part in this question is that the Iranian nation now doesn't have any exaggeratedly optimistic view on how it can be helped by other foreign countries, especially when this concept refers to the governments that are in the service of the interest of the international corporations, like the military industry or the big oil companies and also their lobbies. But it doesn't mean that the Iranian people don't want any support of other nations and some non-governmental organization, for example, or some international institution. They want so, and they express it. That's why our message is for the peoples in general, for the nations, the American people, the European peoples that want to help the Iranian people in their march towards freedom. One of the most effective action is that the peoples in these countries can make pressure on their respective governments in order not to hold up the Iranian government in any way possible. The politicians can be obliged even to do the contrary of this. I mean, by cutting the economic and even diplomatic relationships with the Iranian regime, or by condemning the violation of the human rights in Iran at the parliaments or at the United Assemblies, like the Human Rights Councils, for example. So any pressure and restriction on the Iranian regime makes it weaker and shapes a new balance between the government rule of repression and the popular power to protest and to resist against the regime. This means that all the Iranian people are expecting from outside is just to stop empowering anymore the Iranian rulers. Once this external support is completely removed of the regime, the Iranian people can do what is necessary to defeat the mullahs. We should know that the Islamic Republic receives some $100 billion per year just by selling its oil in the international market. If for any reason this flow of the money is blocked, the Iranian regime will be in a huge impasse for financing its repressing institution inside the country, where it pays more than 2 million people of its thugs and cronies and its forces in order to have power over some 70 million other citizens. So the regime uses this huge army of policemen, security forces, informers, and any other plainclothes services for controlling the millions of highly unsatisfied people living in poverty and in a permanent fear. If this money doesn't arrive to the Iranian government's fund, the regime would not be able to pay its own thugs, security forces, the Revolutionary Guards, and its army, and as a result of this, they will simply refuse to comply with the rulers. So once this unstable situation is produced, the conditions would be in favor of a popular revolt. And at that moment, the balance will be in favor of the people that are not equipped or armed. As we can see, we need then first and foremost the support of the foreign peoples to make the Iranian regime weaker through the pressure that the respective governments can put on the mullah's power, and after that we, the Iranian people, can go in a battle or into a battlefield with the Iranian regime. We can do it. We can enter it kind of even a level playing in this fight with the regime. So we also, to have a fair combat, the front line of the Iranian nation should be empowered, and for that the other peoples can support the Iranian activists inside or outside in order to give them the possibility to act more effectively against the regime. Let me give you an example in this frame. For example, strike is banned in Iran. Those who set up a strike are arrested and put in jail, where they will undergo physical and mental torture. Furthermore, the workers or employees who take part in a strike can be simply get fired. They can lose their job. In such conditions, we see how it's hard for them, for the Iranian workers, for the Iranian employees, to go on a streak when it is necessary, really. When this is the only way to complain. So, despite this risk, the Iranian workforce is ready to take the risk and make a strike at any chance, at any opportunity, at any time when they can find the opportunity to do so. However, what in effect prevents them to do so is not exactly the peril or the danger that the security forces can cause to them, but the fact that they won't have any financial source during the strike, whatever it lasts. Because this right is not recognized by the Iranian Islamic law, the workers who are on strike are not paid during this action. And that's why having a fund, a financial fund, that will help the workers financially during strikes will enable them to get the minimum necessary to organize an unbroken accomplishment. Some Iranian activists in diaspora outside of the country have this possibility to bring to bring the money inside of the country, to send the money to the Iranian workers despite all the security measures of the government. If the peoples across the world want to help the Iranian people, this case can be one of the ways to do so. I have to say that the activists in Iran also need a sufficient coverage by the media in order to influence the public opinion and through it take in the foreign states. Here, for example, the journalists and professionals of the media can help them to reflect what's happening in Iran before and during the future looming uprising, and that's very crucial for us. One part of this important work can be done by the classic media like news and news TV channels, for example, but a great part can be done by the social media and on the internet, for example. And for this second part, everybody can come to help by its dynamic presence on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and so on. So let me conclude and say that there are multiple approaches for the people of the world to lend a hand to each other and to support each other in order to create a better world where there will be freedom, democracy, justice, and the respect of human dignity for every nation and for every person. Thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye.